forgive my appearance, but today I am going to show you how to flock your Christmas tree. So I have wanted a flocked Christmas tree for a few years, but every year at Christmas time, when it's time to purchase one, I cannot bring myself to buy a $300+ tree. So our current Christmas tree is a pre-lit, comes in 3 sections, 7.5-foot tree. It is actually quite full and is a really good looking tree. The lights are starting to go out in the middle, so I'm gonna have to buy like a string of lights and fill it in this year. And I think if I flock it, I will bring it back to life. Fingers crossed. So I purchased this flocking off of Amazon. It's I only bought the 2-pound bag, which means I'll give my 7.5-pound tree a medium flocking, not a real heavy one. And it was about $25. So all in, this will cost me $25 to bring my tree back to life if it in fact works, which I'm willing to take that risk over spending $300. And from the reviews I've read of the trees, it seems like a lot of the flocking tends to fall off, which when you put it up every year. So I'm hoping less expensive, it doesn't last forever, not the end of the world. So I'm gonna get started here. Here are the first couple things that I'm going to do. So I have a bunch of these from old birthday parties, a JoJo tablecloth, dollar little tablecloths. I'm doing mine inside because we live in Indiana and it is storming outside and there's too much moisture in the air to try and do this in my garage and then drag it in. So I'm gonna first thing set up the tablecloths underneath my tree, and then I'm going to fluff out my tree. I also have a pair of gloves nearby because I heard that was good once the flocking starts sticking to everything. I have a handy dandy spray bottle. I'm using my child's Melissa and Doug one because I actually think it has a really nice spray to it. I have my scissors to cut open the bag and a mixing bowl that I'm going to dump the flock into, so I'm not trying to deal with this bag. When I did receive this, this is like the premium snow flock. This is what the professionals use. It does sell out on Amazon, but surprisingly they still have it right now. When I received it, there was a note in the bag that said it's not in their normal packaging because their packaging is out due to COVID. So it does just look like this right now. And quite frankly, this was a little less than I thought it would be, so hopefully I can stretch it. And then I have an old Tupperware colander with the holes. I thought those holes seemed big enough that it would flock nicely instead of like my metal strainer. It might get stuck in there. So fingers crossed. First thing I'm gonna, I should say crossed, not crossed. First thing I'm gonna do, lay out the tablecloths, and then I'm gonna start opening the bottom layer of my tree so it'll flock well. So as you can see, I have spread out the tablecloths and I have the base layer put in right in the middle of all of them. It's a pretty big area. I don't know if I needed that many tablecloths, but it's worth trying. Now I'm gonna poof out my tree on the bottom base layer and then get started. Okay, the tree is properly poofed. There's some holes in the bottom, but I'm not going to worry about it too much right now because I really don't want the bottom to be overly flocked anyway, because as you would think, when a tree would, or when it would snow down on a tree, the top is going to be what gets the most snow. So I want to make sure that I don't overdo the bottom to where there's nothing left on the top. So right now I'm just pouring the powder into my bowl. As you can see, it is creating a dust storm. Goodness sakes. This is what it looks like. It's kind of hard to see. It almost looks like flour, but it definitely has a glassy color to it. Shiny little shimmer and glitter. So we'll get started. noticing. First of all, my gloves ripped like crazy. I'm not exactly sure why. My other thoughts are I'm really liking the way it's turning out. I'm going through and going like this. Maybe you've noticed me doing that to the tips of the lights so they won't be completely covered with flock, and then they'll still light up a little bit. The end of my tree, like right in this region, has more realistic looking tips than this top part. So I'm trying to flock those a little more heavily. Plus that's what sticks out, so as it would snow, that's what would be covered. So that I'm clumping a little bit more, I guess you'd say. And so far, I think it's starting to look pretty good. Maybe you can see that. And I'm doing a light coat. I'm gonna go ahead and let this rest for an hour before I do the second tier, then rest an hour. You can also see it's pretty thick on the floor, but I still have a lot left. So we'll let it go for an hour and then check back on it, put the second tier on, see how we do. Oh, if you have asthma or something like that, a breathing condition, I'd wear a mask. As you can see, I was choking a lot. I also am burning up. I don't know why it feels so hot in here. I don't even have the heat on. But doing this little task was making me hot, and I could tell that I was starting to rush towards the end because I started to not enjoy it. So I am glad that I'm stopping in between tiers, or else my arm would be tired and I was getting a little too rushed and fancy. See all of that there? All right, so see you at tier 2. Okay, I am almost out of water. I got it on my fingers this time because I didn't use gloves. It's looking really good. The top, I didn't get all the way done. And you can tell it is definitely lightly flocked. And I only have about half, not even, like a fourth of it left, and I still have to do the very top. And then that is all that I have of the flock. So I'm starting to get a little nervous that I'm gonna run out. I'm gonna go fill up my water and then finish this layer, and then hopefully I will have enough to complete the project. Clearly starting to get covered in flocks. I'm going to take a step back, see where the holes are that need filled, and then finish it up. So you can tell it's definitely a light flocks. But I really love it. It looks very farmhouse, not clumpy, not over the top, just lightly snow dusted. I will say I don't even think the camera does it justice. And it was really hard to get up at the tippy top, but I'm not exactly worried about it because I think that once the top is on the tree, that's going to be hard to see anyway. You can see like down here, it's very snowy. And on those tips that look more real, I'm going to try and get in there and get some of those spots too. But honestly, I think that makes it look even more realistic. There's some holes in the tree that I need to fill, but keep in mind too, this is without ornaments. So for $25, I think if you can find a decently full, good shaped tree, mine seems lopsided right now, I need to wiggle it around, it's worth it. I would call this a DIY success. I'm gonna give it 2 days to dry. It takes 48 hours. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so I won't mess with it tomorrow or probably Friday, and then Saturday we'll decorate. Alright, bye guys.